Too strong on the three. Blazers a chance to take their first lead. Gary Trent Jr. Keep it flowing. Nearly a broom ball.
That's who you want to take that shot at the end. Another good job from the Blazers, double teaming, and Gary in typical fashion.
So Knicks back up 9. Gary Trent Jr. putting on a display here in the third quarter.
Nice. Yeah, he was basically being crowded.
Dame up ahead to Jones Jr. Blazers will slow it down. Covington wide open from Gary Trent Jr. Cashes in.
Hood going to work on Korkmaz. They clear it out. Boy, Trent got a step, and Trent off the window, up and over Dwight Howard.
That's tough what Ennis did, because he started vertical and then put his hands down. A lot of times guys get whistled for a foul, but Ennis got all basketball to help force the miss.
Gary Trent Jr. a second foul that he's able to draw. This time gets the bucket to fall.
GT getting that invisible screen in transition. Ennis just showless.
Still without a three-pointer here in the first quarter. Gary Trent Jr. pump fake, no contact, or no whistle I should say on the contact, but hits the jumper. Winds down in the first half. Dame into the paint. 10 to shoot for Gary Trent Jr. Steps into a three.
Oh, that's big.
Big time bucket.
Man, that you needed that one.
Starts to this season. Blazers quick hands. Those two a huge reason for their team's success. And Gary Trent Jr. foul, bucket, and a free throw coming. Cantor on the floor defending Porzingis, and more defense for the Blazers. Not much opposition on that one.
Gary all over the place. Gary chased the whole time. He never stopped his pursuit as he was guarding Brunson, even though he got hung up just a little.
10 to shoot for Portland. Trent Jr. high arcing.
Wow.
Rattles in.
Wow. That was good defense. Orleans, they're the second best rebounding team percentage-wise in the league, just right behind Utah. Oh, GT, ring it up. 1, 2, 3, and a chance for 4. Nice skip pass from Dame. Hooked that thing over the top because he saw Bledsoe in other people's business in the paint, so he had to pay. He had to run out there and try to close out.
Dame let the clock wind down. Goes to his left to avoid the double team. Simons trying to handle the pass. Trent Jr. before the horn. Huge three by Trent Jr. to close out the third quarter.
His handle just slightly, but he got rid of it right in time. To GT3.
Blazer lead is 3, fourth quarter coming your way.
Got him involved. So the more they can involve him, Jordan, in some of this action, he can serve to provide confusion to the Blazers defense. But Gary Trent is going to keep knocking him down.
Beal fighting through traffic. Nice defense from Trent Jr.
Good as a primary defender, and he had Dame right there having his back.
Covington to Jones Jr. back to Cantor. Sharing is caring.
Gary Trent Jr., he's been a big piece to the Blazers' success this year. Denver, a quick burst here with a couple of threes, up 6. Nice look in there and finished by Derrick Jones Jr. Trent set him up.
Trent Jr. with the steal. Open runway. Liftoff. Gary Trent Jr.
He's everywhere. Gary is just being alert. Knows where that ball is going. And Morris, I guess, just not expecting Gary to be engaged in the play. Can do that in addition to shooting 41% from the three-point line. He's athletic on the break.
Blazers hurry it down the court, and Trent Jr. with the scoop and the foul. Quick response by the Blazers.
He saw the one-on-one.
20 points for LeBron on the night to go with 7 rebounds, 4 assists. 6 to shoot. Now the Blazers get an easy look down low.
You run some good action.
Cantor looking for a teammate. Trent Jr. The long three rolls in for him.
Video that features Rodney and Zach Collins. You want to listen to that video.
Zach Collins, one of the 4 Blazers unable to go tonight due to injury, as Trent Jr. gets the buckets
And the harm.